realizing, like I said, now is the time. And if you are a person that this is happening to, or your liberties are being infringed upon, or you're just a person that this subject is very close to your heart, it means something to you. You agree and you say, yeah, we need to fight for that. Maybe it's not happening to you, but you see the value in rising up and fighting for our liberties, to retain our liberties that we still have. Then I urge you to please speak up about it. Confront the issue, because right now is that time. We only have 2 years left, folks, and we don't know what's going to be coming down the pike. So we have to get certain things established right now while we can, and while we have a reasonable government sitting in the White House that will possibly hear our voices. If there's a lot of people that take a stand and they rise up and they speak out against it, then maybe they'll hear us. Maybe they'll make some changes. You just never know.
Patriotism bona fides up against just about anybody. I worked on Indian reservations for 7 years and arrested 150 violent criminals. I took a transfer in order to work child pornography investigations before being voluntold to work on January 6 cases. And my concerns were that the FBI was not acting necessarily any sort of political way. I was initially worried that the FBI was manipulating statistics for the financial reasons, but also infringing on individuals' rights and maybe perhaps having some public safety concern issues where they're using SWAT for compliant subjects. So I don't take really any stock in those labels. I know that the Democrats and the media have labeled me that way, but I guess you get all the flack when you're over the target.
That's very well said. They came after you. I mean, you blew the whistle on the FBI. They retaliated hard, which just shows how broken that bureau is. What exactly happened to you and your family?
Well, once I was suspended, I was placed in an unpaid, indefinitely suspended status. I was still technically an FBI employee, so I needed their permission to gain outside employment. I put in multiple requests and was denied those opportunities. I also submitted requests for my training documents, which the FBI didn't furnish initially and then only gave some, and has still refused to validate when state authorities in Florida have asked to confirm that they are legitimate, so I can't get outside employment that way. They issued an illegal gag order on me and told me I wasn't allowed to discuss the matter with my family or even my attorney. And then recently the FBI has permanently revoked my security clearance, and I guess it's sort of like shooting a dead body. It doesn't matter since I don't work for them anymore, but if I wanted to do something later on in my career and use my skills for anything that requires a security clearance, it's obviously going to make that very difficult.
They're sending a very clear message. If you screw with us, we will destroy everything that you have. They're trying to silence anybody else that would possibly come out and to describe and to reveal the rot that has become of that bureau, and that is horrifying.
I wanted to take the time to give an update of some things that have transpired since I started this video series of those who spy out our liberties and silence our voices. So when I first initially recorded, the podcast of, and I've broken my, I made one recording of a podcast, and I broke it up into like, actually this is like part 4, I believe, that I'm going to be presenting today. But when I initially made the podcast, I shared, and I believe I shared it on this segment, on this video, that you'll see in just a few minutes. I shared about how I was only being allowed to post videos on YouTube. I was not being allowed to post videos on Rumble or Brighteon, and I believe Brighteon I'm still not able to post videos on there. It's being blocked. Now, there has been some change as a result of me confronting this and sharing this information, sharing these, the videos, the podcasts that I have regarding this topic. Now I am able to upload my videos on Rumble, but they are shadow banning me. So what I know, I sent an email to Rumble to try to get some help with this, but what happens is when I put the name of my podcast in the Rumble, the search, the search bar there, my the name of my site, it does not come up. I type it in, and people with similar names as mine, that it comes up under that, but it does not come up under my name. Now on Rumble, you should be able to find me at Deanna's, with an S at the end, Deanna's Studio, and it's 123, and it does not come up when I put that in, or even when I put just Deanna. It brings up other people's, by the name of Deanna. It brings up their podcasts, but not mine. So I believe that's considered shadow banning. So I am now able to post the videos though on Rumble, but they are being shadow banned. So I wanted to reiterate, if I'm able to get this fixed, in Rumble, it's Deanna, Deanna, with an S, Deanna's, and then Studio, and it's all blended together, and then just Deanna's Studio 123. On YouTube, it's just Deanna's Studio. So, but anyways, a little bit of a change.
I believe I mentioned this on the previous video, that in relation to big tech's censorship and violating our civil liberties, I wanted to mention again that there is a man that I listen to. I follow his videos, and he has actually, he has kind of like this training or this information that he teaches, and it's about, it exposes he used to work for the CIA, and he is now a whistleblower because of all the corruption that he knows about that's taking place within our government. His name is Kevin Shipp. He had a long history, a long career, in the CIA. His father actually was a CIA agent as well, and he has something called the master class. He teaches like a master class, and his name is Kevin Shipp, and I actually signed up for it, and he has all these videos that he exposes, about his experience with the CIA and some of the wrongdoing and things. He just feels like the more the message gets out, the more the people know about how our rights are being infringed upon by them, that maybe the people will, begin to speak out against it, and to bring correction, to these types of situations where the intelligence agencies are violating our constitutional rights. They are preying upon us like predators, even. Especially when they're sitting here monitoring everything that we're watching, shutting, not like in my situation, shutting down my internet. stopping me from uploading a video. I can't upload videos on Rumble. I can't upload my podcasts on Brighteon. I was able to upload just a few, and then they every time I go to upload it, the upload just cuts off. It fails, and that happens on Rumble as well. The only one that they're allowing me to upload on is YouTube. And then I sat there and I was wondering the other day, why is it they're allowing me to upload videos on YouTube but not the other ones, like not on Rumble? And then I started doing a little digging around, and I was remembering something that I heard from Kevin Shipp. And he was speaking with, oh gosh, what's his name? There's a guy, the last name is Gardner. I'm forgetting his first name. I just was looking for it last night. But I remember seeing a video, and Kevin had shared with him, because I think what they were doing is the guy was asking him, okay, so what are the best sources of media where where my stuff's going to be private? And he was sharing about different things that he's using for his business and his podcast. And Kevin Shipp, I remember him saying, I didn't know this, I found out when I watched the video, but he said that Google is actually a product of the CIA. And we also found out that Palantir is also, the CIA was actually the very first client of Palantir. And so there was definitely a link and a connection. So these are all CIA assets, these companies. Kevin Shipp said that there's a lot of companies that come out of Silicon Valley that they sign up with contracts with the CIA, and then they sign this clause or this contract where they can't speak out against the CIA. They can't, because they can be sued. So the CIA basically owns these people. Even though they're their own companies, the CIA controls them. They control what they can say, what they can speak out, and they give them a lot of money to do that. So most likely, these types of companies have done that. And I did a little Google search regarding Google, and what I typed in Google. See, Google is, according to Kevin Shipp, he said they are a CIA company, an asset, or it could be. I don't know if he meant the company started maybe Silicon Valley through Silicon Valley maybe, and then maybe they signed a contract with the CIA. But what I did was, because I wanted to see if this was true, what would I find out if I did a Google search? And what I typed in, and I put Google's connection to the CIA. Do it. Look that up, and man, it's all kinds of information. It says it says Google has deep Google has deep, multifaceted ties to the CIA, and I think this was an AI thing. I didn't sign up to have AI, to do this search through AI, but I think it just kind of came up by itself like that without me choosing to do this through AI. I just put in through the Google as a Google search, Google's connection to the CIA, and it says Google has deep, multifaceted ties to the CIA and the broader U.S. intelligence community, ranging from early research funding to ongoing government contracting, early funding and development. In-Q-Tel, the CIA's venture capital arm, established in 1999, invested in startups and technologies aligned with intelligence goals. The CIA and NSA funded research programs like the Massive Digital Data System, MDDS, which sought to develop data mining and tracking capabilities. This research environment at institutions like Stanford University helped incubate the algorithms that became Google. Okay? While Google denies being directly connected or directly created by the CIA, intelligence agencies funded the underlying computer science research that enabled its search technology. Government contracting and acquisitions since the early 2000s. Google has served as a major contractor for intelligence agencies. In 2004, Google acquired Keyhole Incorporated, a satellite mapping firm partially funded by In-Q-Tel, which became the foundation for Google Earth. Okay, CIA connected Google Earth is. Google has won significant contracts to provide search infrastructure for the NSA and the CIA, including powering Intellipedia, a collaborative intelligence database. The company also collaborates on cybersecurity initiatives, such as assisting the NSA in analyzing threats from foreign hackers. Personnel and surveillance. Google has hired numerous, let me pull up this other page, government contracting and acquisitions, since the early 2000s. Google has served, just one second here. Okay, let me see here. Okay, personnel, here we go, I got it now. Okay, it says personnel and surveillance, personnel and surveillance. Google has hired numerous former CIA and NSA employees for senior positions. You see that, folks? This is very much a CIA, what would you call it? A CIA operation, I guess. You know how the CIA had the Mockingbird media? Well, this isn't it. I mean, that was a CIA operation. Well, this is a CIA operation as well. And that's probably why they're allowing me to upload videos on YouTube only and not like Brighteon, right? Not on Rumble, like everybody else can upload their videos, but I can't possibly because my brother's a special agent in the FBI, and he's censoring me. He's helping censoring me, I believe. I believe he's very much deep state, and I didn't know that until the pandemic, and I began to realize, and it's sad because he and I used to be very, very, my whole life I was very close with him, but the pandemic, man, it revealed a lot about people and where they stand, and I found out that my brother's deep state. I didn't know that. You know, I thought he believed the way we did because he grew up in this Christian home and, you know, with our belief system, but you know, the deep state changes people when you work for them, and you know, people change. So, former CIA and NSA employees for senior positions across various departments, integrating intelligent perspective into its corporate structure. Revelations by whistleblower Edward Snowden. Maybe we need to revisit some of these Edward Snowden videos. In 2013, highlighted the depth of this connection, exposing programs like PRISM that allowed the NSA direct access to user data from major tech companies, including Google, for mass surveillance programs. So understand, folks, that the CIA and the FBI, and here in California, the Banana Republic law enforcement, I don't think that all law enforcement around in California is Banana Republic, but the ones that I'm dealing with, they sure are. I had their police airplane for hours circling around behind our property, and I had the internet on, so they were probably sitting there with their surveillance equipment, and just a couple days ago they came up, you know, halfway onto our property with their airplane. That's communism. That's tyranny, and that's why in a lot of my video content, I'm going after that spirit of tyranny, because that is demonic. And I really believe that we need to be going after this kind of corruption and targeting it through using our voices. Those who are creating podcasts, we need to use our voices. We need to expose it, play videos, bring on guests that can help to strengthen and enforce this, this fight and our rights as American citizens that they're being infringed upon. They're spying on our liberties in order to undermine the strength of our Constitution and all of our civil liberties, all of our constitutional rights. And we do not need to sit back and take this any further. And if we don't speak up right now, man, I mean, if we don't speak up right now, man, it's a scary thought to know, to think about, anticipate what's gonna happen when with the next administration, because most likely they're gonna be a bunch of communists or Marxists or like Mandami, the Muslim Brotherhood, running the nation. They're over there in Texas trying to change. I think it's called Sharia law. Okay, so that's a good example of those spying in on our liberties. They're trying to. It's kind of like that. What I just read about the Bible. They had these legalists, those who are bound up in legalism, and they came in acting like they were Christians in a very stealth manner. And what they were doing was they were trying to undermine the strength of the message that was being preached by the Apostle Paul and the other, preachers about the gospel of Jesus Christ, the grace and the free gift that it is, and the gospel, the cross of Jesus Christ, the blood that He shed, all of that stood in our place. They were trying to undermine that and push the people into the law of Moses, which is abiding by the 10 Commandments. And that's legalism. That's considered legalism. Well, you can see over there in Texas, you have these Muslims trying to push their Sharia law on the people of Texas. It's kind of a similar situation. So they're spies. They're coming in stealth to spy in our liberty as American citizens and to spread their own, kind of like their own gospel, right? And so it's all connected. It's sometimes, like I said, what is happening in the spirit realm, you'll see it manifest in the natural, maybe in a little different way, maybe not through legalism, but it could be, these people spying, these tech agencies or Silicon Valley or Chinese Communist Party spies that they have, because there are spies, especially here in California, or the intelligence agencies spying on what are we looking at, online. I mean, they have their hands all in my internet and my computer, tablets, phone, everything. Nothing is private in my life because of that. So that's why this is very personal for me. But not only me, I hear others that are dealing with, maybe not exactly like this, but their rights are being infringed upon, like Sarah Westall, which you just heard. The other podcast, Melke and her husband, where, the intelligence agencies and the deep state in general, they're silencing their voice. They're making it hard for them to make a living, and they're excellent. They create excellent work. And you know what? It should not be this way. We need to do something about it. So I wanted to end with emphasizing, like I said, now is the time. And if you are a person that this is happening to, or your liberties are being infringed upon, or you're just a person that this subject is very close to your heart, it means something to you. You agree and you say, yeah, we need to fight for that. Maybe it's not happening to you, but you see the value in rising up and fighting for our liberties, to retain our liberties that we still have. Then I urge you to please speak up about it, confront the issue, because right now is that time. We only have 2 years left, folks, and we don't know what's going to be coming down the pike. So we have to get certain things established right now while we can, and while we have a reasonable government sitting in the White House that will possibly hear our voices. If there's a lot of people that take a stand and they rise up and they speak out against it, then maybe they'll hear us. Maybe they'll make some changes. You just never know. So I do want to thank you for joining me at Deanna's studio. I hope that you enjoyed the videos that were shown and the message that was projected here today. And I want to thank you, and I look forward to meeting with you next time. Have a great day.